In the vibrant heart of Silicon Valley, where innovation thrives and ambition drives countless individuals, Gabrielle Carter found herself navigating the fast-paced world of technology. As a skilled and dedicated data analyst, Gabrielle had worked tirelessly to secure a position at Maxwell Technologies, a leading tech company renowned for its groundbreaking solutions and charismatic CEO, Ethan Maxwell. Gabrielle, a black woman of unparalleled determination and intellect, had high hopes for her career, envisioning a future where her talents would not only secure financial stability, but also carve a legacy of success for herself. Ethan Maxwell, the CEO of Maxwell Technologies, was a man of immense wealth and influence. Known for his sharp business acumen and charm, Ethan had built his company from the ground up, cementing his reputation as a visionary leader. However, behind the polished exterior lay a man accustomed to controlling every aspect of his life, including the people around him. Gabrielle and Ethan's paths crossed during late-night strategy meetings and project reviews, leading to a brief and secretive affair. Gabrielle's world shifted dramatically when she discovered she was pregnant. Torn between her personal principles and the precarious professional environment, she decided to confide in Ethan, hoping he would take responsibility for the situation. However, Ethan, consumed by his image and the preservation of his status, reacted coldly. In a calculated move to protect his reputation, he terminated Gabrielle's employment under the guise of performance issues. This decision not only left Gabrielle jobless, but also marked her as unhirable in the competitive tech industry. This turning point forced Gabrielle to relocate to a smaller city, leaving behind her dreams of a thriving career. Determined to overcome the obstacles Ethan had placed in her path, Gabrielle focused her energy on raising her unborn child, Darren, vowing to give him the future she once envisioned for herself. Gabrielle Carter's life took an irreversible turn when Ethan Maxwell, the CEO of Maxwell Technologies, reacted coldly and dismissively to her revelation that she was pregnant with his child. Gabrielle had hoped for understanding, or, at the very least, acknowledgement from Ethan. Instead, he viewed the situation as a threat to his carefully curated image as a successful businessman and family man. To protect his reputation, Ethan fired Gabrielle under the pretense of poor performance, a move that not only severed her connection to the company but also blacklisted her within the tech industry. Overnight, Gabrielle found herself thrust into uncertainty, stripped of both her career and the opportunities she had worked so hard to secure. Gabrielle's dismissal was not merely a professional setback. It was a personal betrayal that left her reeling. She had poured years of effort into building her career, believing that her talent and perseverance would secure her a stable future. Instead, she was now forced to confront the harsh realities of unemployment and the systemic challenges that disproportionately affected black women in her field. With doors in the tech industry now firmly closed to her, Gabrielle faced an uphill battle to rebuild her life. Left with no choice but to leave the bustling world of Silicon Valley, Gabrielle relocated to a modest town where she could live more affordably and focus on raising her child. The transition was far from easy, as Gabrielle had to navigate the emotional toll of losing not only her job, but also the professional identity she had worked tirelessly to forge. However, she refused to let despair dictate her future. Determined to create a stable life for her unborn son, Gabrielle found strength in her role as a mother. In her new environment, Gabrielle relied on her resilience and resourcefulness to survive. She took on multiple jobs to make ends meet and slowly began to rebuild her life, though the scars of Ethan's betrayal lingered. Despite the struggles, Gabrielle devoted herself to ensuring her child would never feel the effects of her hardships. She instilled in Darren a strong sense of determination and self-worth, planting the seeds for his future success. Although Ethan had sought to erase Gabrielle from his life, Her indomitable spirit ensured that she and her son would rise above the challenges he had left in their path. 24 years after Gabrielle Carter's life was upended, her son, Darren Carter, emerged as a bright and ambitious young man eager to make his mark in the tech world. Gabrielle had dedicated her life to raising Darren, nurturing his talents and instilling in him the values of hard work, resilience, and integrity. Darren excelled academically, earning a degree in computer science with top honors and completing several prestigious internships. His brilliance and determination quickly caught the attention of recruiters from leading companies, including Maxwell Technologies, the very company that had once rejected his mother. Unaware of his mother's history with the company, Darren applied to Maxwell Technologies and was offered a position almost immediately. His technical skills, combined with his innovative mindset, made him a standout candidate. When Darren shared the news with Gabrielle, she was filled with conflicting emotions. On the one hand, she was immensely proud of her son's achievements and thrilled that he had secured a position at one of the most prestigious firms in Silicon Valley. On the other hand, the thought of Darren stepping into the very place that had caused her so much pain filled her with unease. However, Gabrielle chose not to reveal the truth to Darren, believing that he deserved the chance to carve out his own path, unburdened by her past. Darren's first days at Maxwell Technologies were a whirlwind of excitement and opportunity. His natural charisma and exceptional work ethic quickly earned him the respect of his colleagues and the attention of senior leadership. Among those impressed by Darren was none other than Ethan Maxwell, who had long since solidified his status as a titan of the tech industry. Ethan, unaware of Darren's true identity, began to take a keen interest in the young man, offering him mentorship and including him in high-level projects. Gabrielle's unease grew as Darren shared glowing updates about his new job and his budding relationship with Ethan. She wanted to celebrate his success, but couldn't shake the fear that the truth would eventually surface. Meanwhile, Darren thrived under Ethan's mentorship, admiring him as a visionary leader. The irony of the situation, Ethan unknowingly mentoring his own son. At the stage for a revelation that would challenge everything Darren believed about his family and his future. Gabrielle knew that the past, no matter how deeply buried, would soon resurface, forcing both her and Darren to confront the truth. The carefully constructed lives of Gabrielle Carter and Ethan Maxwell began to unravel when the past resurfaced in the most unexpected way. During a high-profile company event at Maxwell Technologies, Darren Carter's growing prominence caught Ethan's attention once again. As Darren introduced himself to a group of executives, Ethan's sharp instincts kicked in when he heard Darren's last name, Carter. While the name stirred something faint in Ethan's memory, he brushed it aside, chalking it up to coincidence. However, the resemblance Darren bore to someone Ethan had known decades ago began to haunt him. Ethan's unease deepened when he saw a photo Darren carried in his wallet. One of Gabrielle and a much younger Darren. The realization hit Ethan like a freight train. Darren was his son, the child he had tried to erase from his life. Struggling to maintain his composure, Ethan avoided direct confrontation, but the seed of suspicion had already been planted in Darren's mind. Shortly after the event, Darren stumbled upon a conversation between two senior employees, reminiscing about Ethan's controversial past. They mentioned a black woman who had been fired under questionable circumstances years ago. Intrigued, Darren began piecing together the fragmented details and started asking questions. His curiosity led him to discover old company records that confirmed Gabrielle's employment and sudden dismissal, a story that aligned all too closely with what little he knew of his mother's struggles. Overwhelmed by the mounting evidence, Darren confronted Gabrielle, demanding to know the truth. Cornered and unable to keep the secret any longer, Gabrielle revealed the painful story of her relationship with Ethan, his betrayal, and how she had been forced to rebuild their lives alone. Darren was stunned, angered not only by Ethan's abandonment, but also by Gabrielle's decision to keep this truth from him for so long. Furious and hurt, Darren decided he could no longer remain silent. Determined to hold Ethan accountable, he arranged a private meeting with the man who had unknowingly mentored him. The confrontation was raw and emotional, with Darren laying bare the pain Ethan's actions had caused his mother and himself. For Ethan, the walls of his carefully guarded life began to crumble. He was forced to face not only the consequences of his past, but also the undeniable truth standing before him. His son, Darren, was no longer a secret he could bury. After the explosive confrontation, the consequences of Ethan Maxwell's actions began to ripple through both his personal and professional life. Darren Carter, armed with the truth of his origins, stood firm in his resolve to hold Ethan accountable. The once imposing CEO now appeared shaken and vulnerable, faced with a past he could no longer deny or conceal. Ethan, attempting to salvage what remained of his fractured reputation, offered a lukewarm apology and a promise to make things right. But Darren's anger and disappointment ran too deep for such empty words to bring solace. Ethan's family was not spared from the fallout. His wife, Elizabeth, and their son, Elijah, had been present at the event where the truth began to surface. Elizabeth, devastated by the revelation of Ethan's infidelity and betrayal, demanded answers. For years she had believed in the integrity of the man she married, only to discover the lies that had underpinned their life together. Elijah, who had always admired his father, now viewed him with a mix of anger and contempt, grappling with the realization that the man he had idolized was deeply flawed. Meanwhile, Darren found himself in a moral and professional dilemma. The mentorship he had once valued from Ethan now felt like a cruel irony. Every project, every compliment, was now tinged with the knowledge of Ethan's betrayal of his mother. Darren debated whether he could continue working for a company built on the foundation of his mother's suffering. Despite his anger, Darren also wrestled with the emotional weight of meeting the man who was both his father and the cause of so much pain in his life. Gabrielle, too, was caught in the storm. She had fought hard to rebuild her life after Ethan had destroyed her career, and now, seeing her son confront the man who had wronged them both, she was flooded with a mixture of pride and heartache. Gabrielle had hoped to shield Darren from this pain, but she now realized that confronting the past was a necessary step for both of them to heal. The confrontation marked a turning point for everyone involved. Ethan, stripped of the power and control he had always wielded, faced scrutiny from his family, his employees, and the industry. Darren, though hurt and angry, began to find clarity in his next steps, determined to rise above Ethan's legacy. For Gabrielle and Darren, the truth, while painful, became the foundation for a future unburdened by secrets and lies. The fallout from Darren Carter's confrontation with Ethan Maxwell brought about significant changes, not only for Ethan, but also for Darren and Gabrielle. For Ethan, the once unshakable CEO of Maxwell Technologies, the exposure of his past shattered his reputation. Under immense public and professional scrutiny, Ethan stepped down from his role, leaving the company he had built behind. His family, too, was left in turmoil, struggling to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the truth of his actions. Though Ethan vowed to repair the damage, the rift in his family and the stain on his legacy seemed irreversible. For Darren, the revelation of his father's betrayal was both a moment of clarity and a crossroads. He had worked hard to secure a place at Maxwell Technologies, believing it to be the pinnacle of success. Now, the company symbolized everything he wanted to leave behind, a legacy built on the exploitation and suffering of his mother. After much reflection, Darren decided to resign from the company. He realized that his success should not be tied to Ethan's name or the shadow of his misdeeds. Instead, Darren resolved to forge his own path, one built on the principles of integrity and resilience that his mother had instilled in him. Gabrielle after years of silence, finally found a sense of closure. Though the scars of Ethan's actions would never fully heal, seeing Darren stand tall against his father gave her a sense of pride and vindication. She and Darren emerged from the experience stronger, their bond fortified by their shared determination to overcome the past. As Darren and Gabrielle moved forward, they embraced the freedom that came with unearthing the truth. No longer weighed down by secrets, they began to rebuild their lives on their own terms, determined to create a future defined not by the actions of Ethan Maxwell, but by their own resilience and strength. The story of Gabrielle, Darren, and Ethan Maxwell offers powerful insights about resilience, accountability, and the importance of truth. One key takeaway is the value of perseverance in the face of injustice. Gabrielle's journey reminds us that while life may present unexpected challenges, our strength lies in how we confront and rise above them. Despite being wronged and stripped of her career, she focused on raising Darren, building a life of purpose and integrity. Another critical lesson is the importance of acknowledging and addressing past mistakes. Ethan's downfall stems not just from his initial betrayal, but from his continued efforts to bury the truth. This illustrates the long-term consequences of avoiding accountability and the power of truth to bring change. Darren's confrontation with Ethan highlights the courage it takes to seek closure and the importance of standing up for what is right, even when it's uncomfortable. Applying these lessons to our lives, we are reminded to prioritize honesty, fairness, and resilience in our personal and professional relationships. The story also encourages us to define success on our own terms and to build a future rooted in integrity, no matter how difficult the circumstances may seem. In doing so, we can transform adversity into strength and create a life we can be proud of. Today's story is not just about the journey to uncover the truth, but also a reminder of the power of resilience and the importance of staying true to yourself. So, if you were in Darren's position, what would you do? Would you stay and prove your worth in that environment? One, or leave to build a new path free from the shadows of the past? Two, leave a comment with one or two below to share your thoughts. I look forward to hearing from everyone, and don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel.